in the world of where the dead is where the military, along with Farmer Ben, was in the abandoned streets, killing any zombie they can find, even special infected as they walk past. So, Farmer Ben, that was a good thing you brought along with those crates of food. We can last as long as we can with this much food, said the commander. It was not a problem, Farmer Ben said, as he had a sip of wine and walked back to bear country. In the country where Mama, Papa, along with Zoe, brother, and sister bear, lived in a big treehouse. Papa went to the woods to cut down some trees for wood, and Mama was inside the house cleaning, while Zoe was out doing errands. Brother was outside playing basketball. He froze the ball and it went inside the hoop. All right, Brother cheered. Brother, Sister Bear called as she ran towards her brother. What's the matter, sis? Brother asked. Too Tall and his gang took my jump rope. I tried to get it back, but they won't give it to me, Sister replied. 3 against 1, and you're half their size, Brother said, as he was really angry that Too Tall and his gang were not nice to Sister. Do you think you can get it back for me? Sister asked as Brother started to walk. Just have him try and stop me, Brother said, as he walked towards a creek, where Too Tall and his gang were skipping stones into the water when they looked up and saw Brother. Too Tall, Smirk, Scuzz. He called out to Too Tall and his gang, who all of them looked at Brother. Hey, it's Brother Bear. You be at home playing with your dollies? Too Tall said as he and his gang laughed. Ha ha, very funny. Now, may I have that jump rope back, please? Brother said nicely. Since you said please, forget it. Too Tall shouted at Brother as he showed Brother Sister's jump rope. You want it? Come and get it, he sneered. Brother then walked across a log onto the creek and he was able to get across, although he was dared by Too Tall to cross the log just to get to his sister's jump rope to get it back. I did it, Brother sighed as he crossed the creek on the log. Good job, Brother. We didn't think you had it in you. But since you impressed us so much, you can have this back, Too Tall said as he handed Brother his sister's jump rope back. Really? Thanks, Too Tall, Brother replied as he was about to walk away when Too Tall suddenly stopped him. Why not you hang out with us more? You'll have more fun, Too Tall said as he and his gang took Brother to a cave and he was dared to go inside the cave, which Brother did, and he heard a sound that was a zombie sound, but he has never heard it before. Whatever it was unsettling, so he ran out of the cave screaming. He soon caught up to Too Tall and his gang. Nice going, Brother, Smirk said. You made it, Scuzz added. Yeah, nice going, Brother, Too Tall said, as Brother laughed. It was a piece of cake. It wasn't that hard, Brother replied. The fun has just begun, Too Tall said as he and the gang took Brother to the sheep pen, where they dared Brother to take a shortcut. But Brother, however, tried to walk away. You chicken? Too Tall asked. I'm not chicken, Brother said. Then we dare you to take the shortcut, Too Tall replied, as Brother, along with Too Tall and his gang, took a shortcut across the field, cutting through a sheep field. One of them was a ram, and he would woke up to Too Tall's yelling that caused him to chase the gang and Brother. Thankfully, they made it out of the pen just in time. Way you go, Brother, Too Tall said, as he was impressed. That ram almost got you, Scuzz added as Brother stood up. Was that fun? Too Tall asked, as Brother said that it was almost a close call. When you hang out with Too Tall and the gang, the fun never ends, he said. All that fun's making me hungry. I think it's time for some watermelons. Too Tall and his gang then took Brother to a Farmer Ben's watermelon patch somewhere else in bear country. This is Farmer Ben's watermelon patch, Brother explained, as Too Tall hushed him. Do you want to spoil our fun? Too Tall whispered. We're going to steal some watermelons. But that's dishonest, and Farmer Ben's a friend of mine, said Brother. But that's dishonest, and Farmer Ben's a friend of mine. Maybe we made a mistake of you hanging out with us. I guess you're chicken, Too Tall said to Brother. I told you, I'm not chicken. Brother shouted. Then I dare you to come with us, Too Tall said, as Brother shook his head. Not this time, Brother said. Then Too Tall had an idea to keep him from walking away, just so he would say yes. Then I double dare you, he said. But Brother didn't listen. I don't see how stealing watermelons is fun, Brother replied. I'll see you later. Just as Brother was about to walk away again, when Too Tall called his name. I dare double dare you. You, Too Tall said. You have to try it first, and then decide if it's fun or not. Too Tall replied to Brother Bear as he made a choice. Okay, I'll do it, Brother Bear replied, just to make Too Tall and his gang to stop being jerks towards them, just to only so they can get their way, because that's what Too Tall and his gang were only trying to do. Once Brother, along with Too Tall and his no-good gang, snuck into the watermelon patch, they checked to make sure that the coast was clear. So the gang both hid as Brother looked around to make sure no one was around before quietly walking towards one of the watermelons. But he didn't see that Farmer Ben, who was dressed up as a scarecrow just to scare away bears for stealing watermelons and crows too. When he saw Brother Bear, he ended up snuck up behind him, placed both of his hands on Brother Bear. Gotcha, he said. As he pulled Brother away from the watermelon, Brother was struggling to get free. Help! Let me go! Brother screamed as Too Tall and his gang saw a big zombie wearing overalls and had a one huge arm charges at Brother and Farmer Ben, carrying them far away until they were out of sight. Too Tall and his gang were so scared of the sight that they ended up having to run away. Run for it! Too Tall said as he and his gang ran away screaming out of sight. Meanwhile, back at the bear's treehouse, Zoe was pulling up the car in the driveway with a few bags of groceries that she got for Mama. Here are the groceries, Mama. I got what you needed, Zoe said as she and Mama Bear carried the stuff into their house. Thanks, Zoe. I'm so glad you did it for me. I love having you to help us out, Mama Bear said, as she and Zoe noticed that Brother wasn't back. Brother isn't back from getting Sister's jump rope back from Too Tall and his gang. I wonder where he is. I guess me and Sister can go and find him. I guess he's maybe at someone's house, maybe? Zoe suggested. Okay, Zoe, that sounds good, Mama said. Zoe then walked out of the house and started the car again, just as Sister Bear saw Zoe get in the car. Zoe, where are you going? Sister asked, as she got in the car with Zoe. Brother Bear hasn't returned for a while. I thought he was just getting your jump rope back from Too Tall and his gang. But we'll both have to go out and find him, Zoe said as she drove around bear country. They stopped from house to house on places where Sister and Zoe knew that know their some friends that know Brother, and asked them if they had seen him, but none of them did. Then Zoe drove by Farmer Bellen's place. There's one place that we have a crime scene, Zoe said, as she noticed a broken fence. She and Sister Bear saw it, and it had looked like it had been ran over. It didn't look like a bull did, because that would have been one of the obvious things. But, however, it was not human. That was for sure. I hope Brother's okay, Sister said. Well, then I might have to do is go back to the treehouse and prepare myself. We may end up going on another zombie adventure. Zoe drove back to the treehouse and grabbed her stuff. Mama then dropped off Zoe and Sister Bear off at Farmer Ben's farm. Then they walked on the watermelon patch. I see footprints, and it must be a new zombie, Zoe said. Despite that this footprint is bigger than mine and yours, Zoe and Sister walked along the watermelon patch. There's a trail of those footprints. If we follow them, we'll know where they took Brother and possibly Farmer Ben as well, Sister said, as she and Zoe began to follow the footprints, which they led into a forest that was a long-distance walk. They soon saw a cave. Brother must be down there, since the footprints have stopped near inside the cave, Zoe said. Wow, this is something. A real crime scene going on into another zombie adventure, maybe. I wonder where this cave would take us, Sister asked. That is the same question I would ask. Well, this is sort of almost the same cave your mom and papa went through, except they went through from Witter Jones's basement or cellar. Remember that? Zoe asked, as she and Sister laughed. I sure hope Brother will be okay, though, Sister Bear replied, as she was walking with Zoe. I hope so. Mama might contact the police to help find your brother, so I do hope he's okay, though, Zoe replied as she and sister walked more into the cave as Zoe turned on their flashlights. This is scary a little, sister said. Brother! Sister called out, but no reply was heard. Brother? Brother? Where are you? Zoe called, but they didn't hear a reply back until they came across an old bridge. Wait out, sister. This is an old bridge, so we'll have to go slow on this bridge. I have no clue on if anyone has been down here, Zoe said as she and sister started to walk on the bridge to get across to the other side. What will this cave take us? To the world where we were when Ware Jones kidnapped me, along with my brother and friends? Sister asked. Maybe, but it is hard to say where this path would take us, Zoe replied as she and sister continued down through the cave. Well, the only way to find out is, this is the only way to find out for sure. Maybe we could find some people that can help us, sister said. That's possible, or maybe if we run into Francis and Lewis, they could help us. Zoe replied as she was still saddened that Bill had to sacrifice himself to save Zoe and his friends back when they were stopping Ware Jones from her evil plans back on Halloween. It is sad that Bill's not with us, sister said. I agree with you, sister, but Bill will always be around in spirit, even when we can't see, Zoe said, as she could see a light. Sister, I see a light. We must be getting close, she said, as she and sister walked until they were out of the cave. When they were in the same world where Jones took the cubs and held them captive, except they might have been in a different part of the area, since they had no idea where they were, but it was definitely the same world where Zoe met Sister Bear. Wow, are we when I think we were in? Sister asked Zoe. We're in the same world where we met each other, but this is somewhere else, Zoe replied, as they found out that they were in the fiery building. And this building's on fire, sister. Let's try to look around and see if there's anyone that can help us. Zoe and sister looked around until they saw a helicopter that flew over their head as a group of 4 survivors walked onto the building from the door where they came from, the burning building. Hey, come back, a guy in the white suit said. We're still here, a mechanic man shouted. Hey, come back, said the black girl. Come back, come back. Aw man, they ain't coming back, a high school coach said. Let's get over this fence and ask those people for help. Maybe they can help us find brother, sister suggested, as she and Zoe climbed over the fence just to get to the other side of the fence and towards the group of survivors, which Zoe was surprised to see. The 4 new survivors turned around to see sister and Zoe climbing over the fence. They were happy to see 2 people still alive. Are you girls bitten? The high school coach asked. Not gonna hurt you, just asking. No, we both have not been bitten, Sister Bear replied. Yeah, I'm immune to the infected, so I'm guessing you're immune too? Zoe added. Yep, that's right we are. And you've both been saying you're looking for someone? The man in the bull shifter's shirt asked. Yep, that's right, Sister replied. Do you know who or what the person you're looking for? The man in the white suit asked. Well, there was a zombie that too. Him and I have no clue on what he is. Maybe it might be a tank or something, Zoe said. Well, we can help you girls out. Why don't we get to know each other first? Replied the black girl wearing a pink shirt. I'm Sister Bear. Even though I'm a cub, you could still say I'm a kid, Sister said. Alright, so where is this person of a cub you're looking for? The high school coach asked. He's my brother. He's 10 years old and his name is Brother Bear. And he wears a red shirt with blue-green pants. Sister Bear explained the details. Okay, so what kind of zombie got him? The man in the suit asked, as Zoe and Sister Bear said they didn't know or what took him. Well, I think we should get to know each other for more, the high school coach said. My name is Nick, replied the man in the white suit. My friends call me Coach. What about you, young lady? Coach asked Zoe. I'm Zoe. I'm not really her big sister, but this cub and her brother looked up to me as that way, Zoe replied. Nice name, Zoe. Nice to meet you. Name's Rochelle. I thought I was the last woman on Earth, but looks like I found another one, Rochelle said. My name's Alice. Some of my friends call me Ale, but I do prefer calling me Alice because Alice sounded like a girl's name. Alice then stopped and talking, and then he turned to look at Zoe. Oh my gosh, that is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. She is so beautiful. She is so beautiful. Rochelle then smacked Alice. You know her and she knows you, Rochelle said. Quit daydreaming. I don't care, Rochelle. She is an angel, Alice replied. He sure had a huge crush on Zoe, and even though Zoe could say that he was love-struck. Well, so how did you two meet? Coach asked, as Zoe told the whole story of how she met Sister Bear, along with her family and friends, and even said that Weird Jones was evil at first throughout the whole fiasco with her. But when they all saved all the cubs that were missing, it was one adventure they had back on Halloween. That is something I don't hear every day, Rochelle smiled, and then laughed. The part where Weird Jones, when she was scared of you, Zoe. That's so funny. Zoe laughed with Rochelle. But seriously, I cannot believe I have met another woman alive. I thought I was the last one. I thought I was the last one too, Zoe replied. So that chopper's heading back to the evac center at the mall? Alice stated, on where the helicopter flew off to. I have to agree. Let's grab a weapon and head to the mall, Coach said, as he grabbed 2 pistols along with Alice and Rochelle, with Zoe and Sister, while Nick took a fire axe, and they head down the stairs. Now, just so you know, when we go through this apartment building, there will be zombies, even Ceda ones, Nick warned the group, as everyone nodded as Alice opened the door as the group shot down zombies in the hallway. Watch out for the ones in hazmat suits, Alice warned the group. They cannot be hurt by fire. The group continued to walk down the hallway until a blockage of fire and barricade was in the way. Ah, shit, Zoe groaned. What is it? Sister asked. A fire and a barricade has blocked our path, Zoe replied as Rochelle saw a window ledge that they could walk through carefully. There's a window ledge that goes down there that we can get through to pass the fires, Rochelle said, as she started to walk carefully too across the window ledge along with Sister and the rest of the group. Zoe started to walk, but as she looked down, since she was scared of heights, she sure didn't like Rochelle's idea. Oh, how did this building get so high? Zoe asked as she was feeling scared. It's okay, I gotcha, Ellis said as he held Zoe throughout the whole way for the window ledge, just to get around the blockage of the fire and the barricade. After the group was able to get down and reach the elevator, they made sure everyone was in. Thanks, Ellis. I owe you one, Zoe replied. You were scared too there, Zoe? You okay? Rochelle asked, as she pressed the button to the elevator as the doors closed and the elevator was going down. I'm just scared of heights. I just have that fear since I was 12 years old, Zoe said as Ellis hugged her. There, Zoe. I know I was like that too. When I turned 17 and I rode the tallest roller coaster, I got over my fear, Ellis said as he comforted Zoe. You're such a good friend, Ellis. Maybe you should ask her out, Nick whispered in Ellis's ear. As the elevator door reached the ground floor, the room was starting to get very smoky. Now when this door opens, be ready to fight the zombies, Coach said. As the group prepared themselves, Nick then opened the elevator door, and the sound of it caused the infected of horde to hear the sound and ran towards the group of survivors to attack. The group took them down, as it didn't take them long to do so. When the group continued to walk through the burning building, Sister was coughing as Zoe picked her up. She's coughing bad. She needs oxygen or she'll die from the smoke inhalation of the lungs, and that can be very toxic. Zoe raced through the horde while shooting down any infected that gets in her and Sister's way. When they got out of the fiery part of the building, there was a safe house up ahead. As Zoe raced to the safe house, that was when a zombie with big arm started to charge at the girls. Hey, watch out! Ellis pushed Zoe and Sister out of the way as the big armed zombie charged at Ellis and as it grabbed him. He stopped and started to pound him to the ground as Coach, Nick, and Rochelle began to shoot the zombie down. Hey, he's crushing me! Ellis groaned in pain as Zoe grabbed her pistols and fired at the new zombie until he was dead, and Ellis was soon free. You okay, Ellis? Coach asked. Yeah, I'm okay, Ellis said, as he ran towards Zoe, who was carrying Sister Bear in her arms. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay, thanks, Ellis, Zoe said as Sister started to cough. Oh God, she's gonna lose oxygen due to the smoke, Zoe said in a worried tone. As Ellis found an oxygen mask on the floor, he grabbed it and placed it over his sister's face. Here, this should help, he said. Breathe, sister. This will help clear the smoke stuff from the fire, Zoe said, as Sister was breathing, as Ellis and Zoe ran to the safe room. Rochelle saw what happened and walked over towards Sister, who was having trouble breathing, along with Ellis and Zoe, who were trying to help. Does she have asthma by any chance? Rochelle questioned. No, she doesn't, but she is dehydrating, Zoe replied, as Rochelle pulled out an IV bag and stuck it in her sister's arm. There's no clue on how or where she got it, probably from one of the rooms she searched through. This IV bag should help her get her hydrated again, Rochelle replied. Thanks, Ro, Ellis said, as Zoe was starting to have tears in her eyes a bit. What's the matter? He asked Zoe. This is what her parents would have never want. Close to a deaf cub, Zoe sobbed. I understand, but you were worried about her, but you're like a sister to her. You are sure right about that, Ellis said as he wiped Zoe's tears away from her eyes. You're right, Ellis. I treat her like if she was my sister and my kid, Zoe said, as Sister was able to talk again. I'm okay now, but who put this IV bag needle in me? Sister asked. I did. Ellis placed the oxygen mask over you to clear out the smoke inhalation, Rochelle said. You feeling okay to continue? Zoe asked as Sister nodded. Why not we take some time to prepare, before we leave this safe room to get to the mall, Sister suggested, as the whole group agreed on preparing before they can leave the safe room. Wherever they're going to be going next, it was definitely something that they're going to be looking forward to. When the group were all prepared and ready to leave the safe room, Zoe had to ask Ellis on who the zombie was once that charges, and it was a big arm. Ellis, I have a question. What was that zombie that charged at me and Sister and attacked you when you moved us out of the way? Zoe asked. That is a charger. He will charge at you like a bull, Coach replied. And when he's charging or about to charge, move out of his way as quickly as possible. Thanks, Coach. Now we will definitely know for next time, Zoe replied. I can't believe I'm still stranded in Savannah, Rochelle said, shaking her head. She couldn't believe that the infected mess she was in. Man, Savannah's awesome. Come on, I'll show you the signs all the way to the mall, Ellis replied, as Zoe and Coach fired at the wandering zombies that were just outside the safe room door. After all the zombies that were wandering were dead, Coach walked back to the safe room. The coast is clear, all. You can head out, Coach said, as the group walked out of the safe room and started to walk until Zoe and Ellis saw Sister, who was trying to get over a block wall. Sister girlie, where are you going? Ellis asked. I think I see a campsite on the other side of this block wall. I want to check it out, Sister said as she jumped down to the other side. Hold on, sis. Me and Ellis are going to follow you, Zoe said, as she and Ellis also hopped over the block wall and landed in the bush. They crawled out to see Sister standing in front of them. The campsite's quiet. Maybe no one's here, Sister said as she, Ellis, and Zoe looked around. Maybe someone left and never came back. Maybe they have some good stuff we can use, Zoe suggested. As she looked through some bags, some had medical supplies, ammo, and even bottles of water. All these bags have hundreds of those who were probably trying to survive, like we were, Zoe said. Let's take it, Ellis said as he grabbed the bags. Hey guys, be ready to catch these bags. You're not going to believe this, Ellis said as he tosses the bags of ammo, medical supplies, and bottles of water to them. Nice, Ellis. Are there more of those? Nick asked. We're still looking, Ellis called back, as Sister was looking at the toys. Zoe, look, toys! There's a lot of them. I wonder if this campsite belonged to a group of kids, Sister asked Zoe. It is possible. Maybe we could find this jump rope that Too Tall and his gang took. They might have put it somewhere, Zoe said, looking around. She then saw a garden. Hey, Sister, there's a garden right behind you, Zoe said. The food doesn't look good to eat, Sister replied. That's because I see the garden. It hasn't been taken care of in a while. But I'm not sure how long it has been since they last tended to the garden, Zoe said, as she saw a hat on the ground. Here, sister, I found a hat. It's a nice hat that says Jimmy Gibbs Jr., whoever he is. Zoe then handed the hat to Sister. Who's Jimmy Gibbs Jr.? Sister asked, as Alice carried a crate full of stuff. Look what I found! A bunch of tools that will be useful. Some of these can be put up to good use, like this multi-tool, and these wire cutters, Zoe said, showing some of the tools as she puts them in her sweater pockets. Look what I see, Sister said, as she shows Alice and Zoe what she found, a sweater that was green. That is a nice sweater, Sister. It might be a bit big on you, but it'll keep you warm, Zoe said, as she puts the sweater on Sister and rolled up the sleeves a bit on her jacket. You'll grow into it someday. So, what is Sister looking for, Zoe? Alice asked, as they walked towards her. Well, besides Brother Bear. We're looking for my jump rope, Alice, Sister said, as of course Zoe explained the story on how Brother was trying to get too tall and his game that took her jump rope to get it back, but that also led to Brother being disappeared when that was going on. All right, Sister, I'll help you and Zoe look for it, Alice said as he saw a military-like tent, only in front of a tree. Me and Zoe will look in that tent, and you look behind it, he said. Okay. Sister then smiled at Alice as she said okay. Then she went behind the tent, while Zoe and Alice walked inside. Well, not much in here besides weapons, Zoe said as she picks up a combat shotgun. I think if we find a clue, it should help us find out where Brother is, Alice said. Then he found a small handful of straw in one of the beds. Look what I found, a clue. Alice picked up the small handful of straw. This must tell us. Farmer Ben is a farmer back where I live. He uses straw to feed the farm animals. I bet he is too. Maybe he's looking for Brother like we are, Sister said. Well, he must be here. Either that or he's looking for Brother, Zoe said. But of course, who really knows? Or we have another villain behind this? Alice suggested. Remember the time you and Sister Bear told me about that witch Witter Jones? Man, that story was funny. Yes, it was, Alice, pretty funny. But you may be right. Farmer Ben was drinking the other day from what Sister's dad told me, Zoe said. He wasn't himself that day. Well, this is a handful of hay will help us. Let me put some of this somewhere in my pocket, Alice says as he put a full of hay in his boxers near where his groin was. Then he and Zoe walked out of the tent and went around the tent to see Sister Bear looking up at the tree. What did you find? Zoe asked. My jump rope. It's up in that tree. I guess Too Tall in His Game put it up there, or maybe Brother had it and lost it, Sister said, as Zoe started to climb up the tree on a step stool, and she was able to get the jump rope back. She then handed it to Sister Bear. Thank you, Zoe. I'm glad we have it. Sister then notices that Alice was acting funny as he was itching and feeling in his, groin. Alice, why are you acting funny? Sister asked, as Alice started to itch where the small full of hay was. My thing is really itchy. Why is it so itchy down there? Alice groaned as he itched where he was been feeling itchy at. Sister looked at Zoe as if she hadn't seen anything like that before. What does those means on a guy? Whatever Alice said, Sister asked, as Zoe was embarrassed that Sister asked her that. That's a word that it's a private area that we all have, Zoe said as she began to giggle. Alice was kind of funny, and she really liked him too. That's funny, and Alice is sure dancing like a clown, Sister laughed, as Alice reached down and pulled the hay out of his boxers. Ah, that's better, Alice said, no longer feeling the need to scratch. So is there anything else? Zoe asked, as Alice walked around the other side of the tree when Alice was hung by his ankle as he was suddenly flown upside down with his hat that fell off. There was another girl who looked to be around 14 years old, wearing a purple shirt with a hunting rifle and a backpack with her. "So you are here raiding my camp?" she asked. "We're sorry. We didn't know it was your camp. It looked like no one had been here in a while," Ellis said. "Are you guys immune?" the 14-year-old girl asked Ellis and Zoe. They both nodded except for Sister, who wasn't immune. "Is that bear cub immune? Has she been bitten?" "No, she's not immune and she hasn't been bitten either," Zoe replied. "We are sorry we raided the camp. We didn't think anyone was still living here since it looked very deserted." "It's okay. I knew something like that was going to happen. Oh, and where are my manners? By the way, my name is Ellie. What about your names?" "Names?" Ellie asked. "Well, before we tell you our names, Ellie, will you please mind if you can get me down from being hung upside down my ankle, please?" Ellis asked nicely. "Sure," Ellie replied as she freed Ellis and then got up. "I'm Sister Bear," Sister said. "I'm Zoe," Zoe added. "My name's Ellis. Nice to meet you, Ellie. How long have you been in this camp for?" Ellis asked. "I was in a group. We have been holding out here for a month. We have been doing well until some people started going missing, and well, a week later, they never returned," Ellie explained. "Why not you join our group? Coach Nick Rochelle would love to meet you," Sister suggested. "You know what? I'll probably join the group. Thanks for the welcome," Ellie replied. As she, along with Zoe, Ellis, and Sister, they all hopped over to the block wall to get back with Nick, Coach, and Rochelle, who had been making sure that none of the infected were passing by, or at least trying to sneak just to get to them from behind.